good afternoon. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone and thank you all for taking the time to attend this webinar. We hope that you and your families are all safe during this challenging time. We realize that working from home is quite challenging in itself, and to assist with that, we at Elsevier are here to support you. We are hosting this webinar and we will be sharing resources for you to build your knowledge on using various Elsevier platforms. Being at home during this lockdown is either extremely busy for some, or some of us might find a bit of time on our hands. As researchers, this could be the key time to do the things you've always wanted to do, but could not find the time during the year. I'd like to begin by introducing our presenters for today. On the webinar, we will have Eric A. Amofel, who is a Mendeley advisor based at the Balme Library at the University of Ghana. Myself, Daneshri Modli, I am a customer consultant for Elsevier. I work specifically with the products Science Direct, Scopus, and Mendeley. And I service the customers in the Sub-Saharan Africa region. And we have Ahmed Helmi, who is the Engineering and Geoscience Solutions Manager for Africa. Before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. We will ask that you please remain on mute for the duration of the webinar. We will be sharing a recording of the presentation as well as the presentation slides. You will receive a certificate for attending this presentation, but in order to receive that certificate, you will need to wait until the end of the presentation to receive a code, which will unlock the certificate on the Researcher Academy. If you have any questions, I will ask that you please put your questions in the Q&A box and not in the chat box, as it will not be monitored. To begin today, I'm going to explain a bit about the Researcher Academy. The Researcher Academy is a free platform available to you. It is an e-resource platform containing modules to build your knowledge around the publication process. The website to access it is www.researcheracademy.com. If you have an existing Elsevier account, you can log on with your Elsevier credentials, meaning if you have login credentials for any Elsevier platform, it will work on the Researcher Academy, that being Engineering Village or Science Direct. If not, you'll be prompted to create an account. Once you have access to the Researcher Academy, you will be able to access modules about the research process and publishing, as well as career guidance and advice, and further updates on our research blog. On the Researcher Academy, you can master essential skills, pick up practical skills and solid professional development advice, learn from the best, access high-quality content developed by leading research experts, and maximize your impact. Learn how to make your research stand out and garner those all-important citations. We take you through the different phases of the knowledge cycle on the Researcher Academy, from research preparation, how to write funding grants, how to find funding opportunities, how to write a manuscript, the ethics of publishing, the publication process, finding the right journal to publish in, and many, many more important publication topics that can build your knowledge as a researcher. So whether you're interested in writing a journal, article, book, or learning how to conduct peer review for high-impact journal, understanding research and publishing ethics, or preparing a successful grant application, the Researcher Academy has resources to assist. Dedicated training takes time and effort, and we believe that researchers should be recognized for this. For each interactive training module or online seminar that you complete, your work will be recognized and awarded with a certificate from Elsevier. And with that, I'm going to hand you over to Eric, who is going to take you through an introduction to Mendeley training. Eric, are you on the line?
Hello, Denise.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
Good, good. Let me stop sharing so that you can proceed to share and take us through your presentation on the introduction to Mendeley.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's presentation or webinar. My name is Eric Amponsa Amwafo. I work with the University of Ghana. I am the head of the Student Reference Library. I'm also a Mendeley advisor and a certified Mendeley librarian. Today, I'm going to take you through a little bit about Mendeley. Then we'll look at how, as a researcher or as a scientist, how you can use Mendeley as a collaborative tool. And then we'll look at Mendeley as a reference manager, which is when you're actually using it to write and cite. And then I'll also take you through some of the features in Mendeley that helps you work faster. Now, Mendeley is a free reference manager and academic social network that can help you organize your research, collaborate with others online, and discover the latest research. As a reference manager, Mendeley enables you to consolidate your research resources and make them accessible. It takes away device dependency in your research process, meaning that you do not have to be glued to any particular device to continue to work. Once you are away from your office or lab or home desktop, any other device that you should find wherever you may be, once you log in, you are able to access Mendeley, install the desktop app, and then you are able to continue with work. Why is this different? Now on your screen, you can see and agree with me that ordinarily this is how a typical researcher working with a manual process will have his environment. It is either that you have left the research on your decks and you have to go somewhere, come back to continue. It is either you are engrossed with it and you don't know what to do, surrounded with documents that are not coordinated, or you are running out of time. Maybe stress is what is killing you at some point. How does Mendeley come in here? With Mendeley, you are able to work faster, as you can see with our cool chap here. Mendeley enables you to be able to have all your resources at one location. You do not need a pen drive. You don't need a mobile external hard drive. All you need is to get access to an electronic device without having to carry all your research resources with you wherever you may go. All you need is one device to log in, and then you have access to your resources to continue working. Now, using Mendeley, what do you get? These are some of the key benefits. You automatically generate bibliographies or references. Why is this important? You just imagine writing about 30, 40, 50 pages of a document, and you have to generate the reference list of all these, the in-text citation, one after the other. And the worst part is if you need to submit this to a publication house and they ask you to change the reference style, this becomes a thorn in the flesh of many researchers. Mendeley enables you to do this just at the click of a button. It enables you to collaborate easily with other researchers online. So instead of having to have physical meetings, all you need is the research material to share, collaborate, annotate, and highlight areas of interest, and your partners, wherever they may be, are able to continue working even without having to meet. Easily import papers from your research software, other research software. Mendeley allows you to get access to various resources that you need from other resources. If you may have been using other managers as at now, it gives you easy tools to be able to import your document into Mendeley to be able to continue working without losing anything. Find relevant papers based on what you are using. Mendeley gives you the opportunity to be able to access documents based on what you have in your account. Once you create a Mendeley account, Mendeley runs an algorithm that uses what you continuously search for and what you have in your account at every time and suggests relevant, related, and current content on that for you, meaning that you do not have to waste time or spend too much time finding these resources when you are busy to work. Whether you're traveling, wherever, or relaxing, you have Mendeley suggesting these articles to you. All that you do is to push them into your account. When you're ready to work, you do not need to be cracking your head looking for resources because Mendeley gets you ready even before you are set to work. Access your papers from everywhere. Like I said, you do not need to be glued. Once you have a device, like we saw our chap up there, all you need to do is log in, install Mendeley Desktop, sign into your account, and you have access to all your resources, including a backup of your working files, and you are able to go. Read papers on the go. So connected to that is that even on your mobile devices, whilst you travel in a bus, in a plane, you can visit Mendeley Suggest and push relevant, related, and useful content that are suggested to you into your account even before you have thought of looking for them. Now, accessing Mendeley, you can access Mendeley via the desktop app, what we call Mendeley Desktop, or the web interface by using any current browser. You can also use any mobile device to access Mendeley. How does Mendeley help? Mendeley gives you the opportunity to have a cloud storage for which becomes the enabler that allows you to be able to access the document wherever you may be. So all you need is your document, you have your relevant or very current browser, and you're able to access it using any device that you may have at any point in time to work with. Now, Mendeley as a collaborative and networking tool. As a researcher, we know collaboration is very, very important and critical in your work. Mendeley enables you to connect to other researchers by helping you create what is known as Mendeley groups, by which you can meet. If you are a lecturer, you are able to create these groups and be able to collaborate or share documents that you intend your students to read even before you have met in class. And not just share this, you can share this via the group by highlighting some portions of the document that you want them to focus on, which we'll look at later. So you can see some annotations. Now, I must remind that you can only do these annotations in the PDF document, meaning that it can only be done in a private group. In a public group, you cannot share. So Mendeley offers you three forms of group. You have the private group and then the public group. You also have the private one that the owner can only have to invite you before you can join. But you can only share the full source document in a private group, which is normally used by a group of researchers who are subscribing or a group of students in a subscribing institution. If you are not from a subscribing institution, your members in a group, a private group, are limited. So whilst Mendeley offers you the opportunity to continue to work, we also advocate that you entice your institution to go for Mendeley Institutional Edition so you are able to get access to advanced features to enhance your use of the private group with your research public and group members. So this is an example of the public group interface. As you can see, this is an interface I took from a search result of civil engineering. So what you see on the screen, for the first one, I said this group shares research papers related to fire safety, meaning that if you are an engineer in this field, all you need to do is search for this group and join. And anytime any group member has a relevant reference on this field, they share with you, and you also get opportunity to work and save time for searching. One other way by which Mendeley enables your visibility is creation of the user's profile. Once you create your profile, you are able to connect with other people. Like I said earlier, other people are also able to see you and join. You are also able to receive personalized statistics on the performance of your research. You're able to promote them, and then you're able to share your work. Others also find you and follow you, as you may see on this slide. Other researchers or students who may have interest in your work can also find you by searching and joining to follow you. Let's look at Mendeley as a reference manager. To get started using Mendeley as a reference manager, you first of all need to create an account. So you visit www.mendeley.com, and once there, you click on free account to create an account to use the software. Once that is done, you enter your email here. Now, I always advise that if you belong to a subscribing institution, or if your institution subscribes to Mendeley Institutional Edition, use your institutional email. In this case, you are able to get access to the advanced features. You have more storage to work with and also to be able to collaborate. Once that is done, Mendeley offers you the your web interface, which is basically your cloud account interface by which you can manage your account online by attracting content into your account without having to download them onto the desktop. This is also your desktop interface, which is your companion during the writing and citing process. So you have your document in here, you get it integrated as we may get to see later, and then you are able to write and cite. This is Mendeley desktop, and that is what we call Mendeley web. Now, Mendeley offers you the opportunity to build your library. As a researcher, you may be surrounded with all these documents, books, articles, reports, theses, and you need to build all these things into your account. The advantage is that it enables you to do your citing easily as you write. To do this, you find under File in your Mendeley desktop, you see this tab that add files, add folders, watch folder, and add entry manually. These are some of the desktop tools which you can also find online that enables you to add files into your Mendeley account. Like I've always said, if you choose add files, it gives you the opportunity to select from the volume of documents you may have, the relevant ones that you want to add into your account. If you choose add folder, it means that you intend to extract all the content of the particular folder into your account. So if you are not sure that you want all of that into your account, your best option is to choose add folder, add files, so that you can select from the lot. Now, watch folder, if you are interested in downloading onto your desktop, you can also create a watch folder to enable the software to be watching and then extract the content into your account, meaning that anytime you download into this folder, the software automatically extract the files into your account without you having to go through these two processes. Add entry manually is the feature that enables you to create the bibliographic information about the sources that you use, so you are able to cite. So this may be documents such as a book, a physical book that you may have in hand, either bought or borrowed from the library. It may be a web page content that you took, meaning that you need to create the bibliographic information about the web page. It may be a video content that you took, so that you have to create the bibliographic information about the video, so that as you add them into your document, you are able to cite appropriately. Now, Mendeley Web Importer is the tool that enables you to be able to attract documents on the website or from the web pages of such databases as Science Direct, and be able to direct them into your account. It enables you to install a plugin known as a web importer onto your browser, and as you get into the interface of the particular database or search engine, all you do is click on it, and then it attracts the articles. You select the ones that you find useful and send them directly into your account without having to download them. Now, as you do this, the recommendation is that you periodically continue to sync. So once you synchronize, what you are doing is that you are ensuring that your account, either on your desktop or your cloud space, is synchronized with what you have on your desktop account. With this, it means that using your devices, you are able to get access to all your documents at a go wherever you may be. You do not leave your office and get home and say that I can't get access to the files that I had. Once you synchronize, you have access to everything you ever added into your account. This is the synchronize button as I hover on. So the advice is that as you work, you periodically synchronize to be able to continue working. Now, as a researcher, you may have to organize your library. Why is this important? This is important because without this, you may end up spending as much time as you do working manually. Now, if it happens that you spend the same amount of time on your device looking for a reference document like you would do manually, then it means that you are not working smart. Mendeley allows you the opportunity to be able to organize your library with such tools as you may see here. So if it's a document that you added to your account recently, once you click here, all those ones are sifted up for you. If you have the ones that if you may have just read it and you're looking for it, all you do is click on recently read. You can make some documents favorite, especially if they are the documents you are working on. And then you are also able to the review. If you think that the content or the bibliographic information of the documents are not accurate, it gives you the opportunity to visit the web catalog to be able to look at it and then review. You're also able to upload your own publications in there. Now, how are you able to sort and organize per topics? As you can see, you use folders to do this. So as you can see from the topics here, economics, example, history, new horizons, whatever the topic may be. One of the important ways you can use this is that as you use Mendeley, as Mendeley suggests articles for you, or as you come across them when you do not have need of in the immediate, what you do is that you create folders in related topics areas and then push this content into them. These are all time-saving exercises that you engage in order that when it is time to work, you do not have to waste too much of your time you need for concentration looking for files. Now, cites and referencing. This is the plugin that enables you to integrate your Microsoft Word or LibreOffice, whichever one you may be using, into or with Mendeley, such that whilst you're writing and citing, you are easily able to do that without having to be flipping from here and there. So to do that, to integrate, you go to Tools, and then you look for Install MS Word plugin. Once you click on it, you have the system get integrated for you. Once integrated, you will find this plugin, especially if this is an interface from a Microsoft Word. So if you are, once you get integrated, you will find that Mendeley gets this plugin installed into your Microsoft Word account for you, with which you are able to do your citing and referencing. So what you do is that once you click to cite, you click on Insert Citation, and then in this search bar, you type your search term. If it is the author's name, if it's an area of the paper you search, normally you will know the author's name because you may have been reading it. So you enter it here, and then the system will sift it up for you, like we have this one. Then you click on it, you click OK, the system cites for you. If you need to generate your bibliography, just a one-time button click here, and your bibliography is generated. Just be sure that you are on your bibliography or your reference page. Be sure the cursor is where you intend the bibliography to be inserted, and then you click. I must remind that you only do this once. My advice is that you do this immediately you cite the very first person, so that the system will continuously be generating the reference list for you as and when you do your in-text citation. If you need to change the reference style, all you do is click on the drop down here, and then your reference style is changed for you, as simple as you can see them. Now, one of the areas many get worried about is whether or not Mendeley can help you do multiple citations. Yes, it can. All you need to do is have your citations selected, and then you highlight all together. So you enter the first author, the second. If you need to merge them, you highlight both together. And if I may go back up, and then insert citation will change to merge. Once you highlight both together, insert citation will change to merge. And then you are able, once you click on merge citation, you have the merge as you have in the example down here for you, and you are good to go. Once that is done, you click on insert bibliography. This is an example of generated reference lists for you. Now let's look at some of the time-saving tools or features in Mendeley that can help you work faster. One of them is Mendeley Suggest. Now, Mendeley Suggest, as I mentioned earlier, is a feature in Mendeley that enables the system to run algorithms and suggest related articles to you based on articles that you search for and upload into your Mendeley account. So as you can see, this is an extract from my account. This is what Mendeley suggested for me. So as you can see, articles for you. Now, if you look at this as a librarian, you may not see the relationship, but once you look at the abstract, it said this paper aims to provide academic instruction librarians with model for integrating, so that it tells you that the system is doing a good job by looking at what you have and then suggesting them to information literacy. Is obviously one of my areas of interest. So mostly I have this suggestion coming into my account. The suggestion is not only on articles, it also suggests people that are interested in you, people that those interested in you are interested in, so that if you also find them kind of related, if in terms of research or in terms of institution, you can also get to follow them. So Mendeley suggests individuals as well as research content for you to make your work and collaboration as well as connection faster. Now, the other cool feature or time-saving tool that I like most is the highlighting and annotation. Mendeley offers you the opportunity to read your articles inside of the software and be able to highlight and annotate, what we call the PDF viewer. Once you do this, for me, the most important thing here is that it saves you time from having to read the same content several times. As a researcher, you know your area of interest. So once you come across a piece of text or a construct that you think is useful or may be useful in the future, the best thing is to highlight or annotate. Once you do this, Mendeley saves this in the cloud for you. On any device, any working machine that you log in on, you are able to get access to this. If you have to share them, you share, and your collaborators are able to also see the highlighting. It helps in working faster because they do not also have to read through the same document from top to bottom to find the salient points to work. The other cool feature or time-saving feature, as I call it, is the web importer. Now, remember, if you need to work only on Mendeley desktop, what it means is that you always need to download your articles or source content and ebooks onto your desktop before you upload them. Once you do that, if you forget to synchronize, what it means is that you may be missing connectivity or finding your document if you are not on your local machine or your desktop. So what it means is that if with a web importer, this is an extract from my interface, so you can see the Mendeley web importer icon here on my browser. So once you see the interface, you search. So this is a search result from Science Direct, the search term, I think, on civil engineering. So you can see the search result. All you do is click on the web importer button on the browser. You normally see it here. And then you have the web importer extract the content list for you. So you scroll through and then you check mark. Once you check mark the ones that you have interest in, as you can see, the PDF is attached. So once you click on add, Mendeley is sending both the bibliographic information about the content as well as the source document into your account. And then you are able to work and then save some time jogging from the desktop and your online interface. Now, the other cool feature that you cannot do away with as a scientist is the Mendeley data. Now, Mendeley data serves as a gateway to over 35 dataset repositories. It gives you access to over 10 million datasets in all spheres of research. It also increases your discoverability and research impact by allowing others to find, use, and cite your dataset. Now, as you may know, data set, as you work as a researcher, you do not only receive credence on your research report. According to the Future of Research Communication and e-Scholarship, that is FOSS 11, data must be accorded due importance in the practice of scholarship and in the endurance scholarly record. In other words, data should be considered legitimate, citable product of research, meaning that once you churn out the data, it is very essential that you share this data for other researchers in your field to also be able to get access to. Now, this enhances research reproducibility. If someone else needs to replicate your research or verify the research, it's almost very important that they have access to the source documents that you used. And doing that will enhance and make sure that research, gets done faster and easier. So the two things that you can get from here is you getting access to data sets uploaded by other researchers and also the opportunity to load your own data sets for others to get access to and cites, meaning that you increase your research impact both in the research report output as well as the data sets that you churn out whilst conducting your research. Now, one of my favorites is Mendeley funding, which is what I've always said I end my presentations with. Once you go through the stress of searching, it's always important that you know your next source of funding. So Mendeley funding gives you the opportunity to be able to know the funding opportunities as they come. You go in there in whichever field of research that you belong. Mendeley has, as you can see on the screen, over 5,320 funders from which you can get a chance and also be able to get your research funded so you can get to expand the research team and make the work easier. Now, if you need to, I encourage that you join the Mendeley Advisor Group. And if you do and you need to create a presentation, please visit the advisor community, and then you have some of the content already prepared for you by Mendeley. All you do is tweak it to suit your presentation, and then you go take it on. Now, this is the end of our presentation on Mendeley this afternoon. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Denise. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Eric, for that wonderful presentation. I've been monitoring the question and answer box. A lot of people asking about the certificates. Please wait until the end of the training today and you'll be given the instructions on how to get the certificate. Really, thanks again, Eric. And I'm going to hand over to Ahmed, who is going to begin the engineering solutions training.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dhanashree. Let me share my screen. Please let me know once my screen is visible to you.
Yes, we can see the invite.
So thank you very much for attending today, everybody. My name is Ahmed Hilmi. I'm the Engineering and Geoscience Solution Manager for Elsevier in Africa. And I'm very thankful for my colleague Dhanashree and for our colleague Eric as well from University of Ghana that he decided to share with us his expert knowledge of Mendeley, which is very useful to organize all the different data that you can get out of the different Elsevier solutions, especially the ones that we'll be discussing today for engineering researchers and students. As you can see in front of me, this is a slide that we use very often in our presentations just to give you a feel of what are the different solutions that Elsevier provide and where do they lie. So basically every time we discuss our solutions, we say that researchers start their cycle from discovery when they need a search and discovery platform, whether to evaluate the different research publications, journals, or authors through Scopus and the different citation counts and metrics, or if they're looking for specific data and specific information that is hidden within standards, research, thesis, books, and different research documents or engineering documents through Engineering Village, a dedicated search and discovery platform for engineering. In general, if you are in need of full text that is published by Elsevier, then you turn out to Science Direct. But we have also other solutions that are the ones that we're going to discuss today, which is Knovel. That is considered a full text platform as well that gives you more than just books. It gives you a lot of insights and a lot of data that is extracted and data mined out of these books. That's such that I'm going to discuss today, which is Knovel. Also, another platform and solution that we have is Geofacets, and Geofacets is a dedicated platform towards geotechnical engineering, geoscience, geology, geography, geophysics. Earth sciences in general are covered heavily in Geofacets, where you have access to download different maps, figures, and tables. Actually, we have a dedicated webinar on Geofacets on the 19th next week. So I hope you can check our Facebook at Elsevier Africa page or Elsevier community to register if you're interested, or to recommend to a student or a friend of yours that is interested in sciences to attend the webinar on Geofacets next week. Of course, Eric has given us a beautiful overview over Mendeley and how it's used, and I will try my best also to integrate whatever I'm talking today and how you can download and integrate this information to your Knovel account. Now, once you download all the reading lists that you've compiled and you start working on your own paper on Mendeley, helping you to format your paper draft to the format that is needed by the different scientific journals that you're going to be applying for. And once you've finished, you apply to the publishing cycle where you submit, your paper is peer reviewed, and a different publisher will approve your scientific journal for being a scientific article for being published. Now, once you get this acceptance, your paper will be indexed in a discovery platform such as Engineering Village, if it's an engineering subject area, or in general subject areas onto Scopus. And then your own work will be discovered by other researchers like the ones that you have discovered. Now, every time we give this training, I normally tend to start by Engineering Village, but for today, I'm actually going to start with Knovel. So, as I said, Knovel is an engineering platform that is provided by Elsevier, but it's much more than an ebook platform. It's a technical information solution that delivers reliable technical answers, supporting engineering workflow and decision-making processes linking academia and research to industry. Now, as engineers, we have a huge advantage and a huge differentiation to our applied science status. Everything that we do, all the research that we work on is for applied and for application, for applied sciences and application. So every engineering research that we have normally tends to have a design aspect, to have an application aspect, to have a measurable tested aspect, and to have all these different aspects that is needed for real life applications. So it is very important for us to link whatever we're teaching students, undergrads in the classroom or postgrad students preparing for their thesis, or researchers in general, to link their work to industry. And we try to achieve that through Knovel by curating thousands and thousands of books, engineering references, and engineering encyclopedias that is carefully chosen from over 150 different publishers around the world. So it's not only Elsevier content that is on Knovel. There is more than 150 different publishers providing different books and titles that are available on Knovel, like Wiley, Taylor and Francis, but even more importantly, like ASME, ASCE, IET, all these different engineering societies providing important references, important handbooks for any engineer in the field or in the lab. Now, the idea was to data mine all the different information and provide it to you in a digitized format where you can interact with the data that is reliable from these references, that is relied on by industry, relied on by research community, and to have it more integratable to your daily work, and so that you can finish your task and finish answering the different questions that you have as quickly as possible. So what we've done is that, for instance, if you are, and there's an example today that if I have the time, I will cover. If, for instance, if you want to extract information on corrosion and how 316 steel, for instance, would react to different acids, and you find that data locked in a graph, you can just find that graph quickly on Knovel, and rather than having it in a PDF format, you can just click on the graph, have an interactive part of that graph where you can click on the different aspects and the different points where it populates a table, and then you can download everything to Excel with the reference to a reputable title. That also applies to a lot of tables. So all of these references, all of these books have a lot of different hidden data and different numbers. So if you're quickly looking for a heat coefficient of a material, or you're looking for the property of a steel alloy, or you're trying to understand which of the many steel alloys that are available that is compliant with the requirements, the characteristic requirements for your design, then all of this data is hidden within these books. And you have to go through thousands and hundreds of different books until you find a reliable book with a reliable table that you can extract that number out of tens and hundreds of lines. So using Knovel, we've digitized all of this numerical values. We've created what we call data points. And Knovel right now have 90 million data points that you can search from. So basically, rather than just looking for a page with a PDF, with a black and white table like this, you have an interactive table that is digitized, searchable, discoverable, and downloadable to Excel. Again, a very, very highly utilized tool that we've even built over it a material property search engines that searches all of these different tables and brings you the amount, the number or the characteristic or the property or the alloy that is actually correspondent to the characteristics that you set. This also applies to different engineering equations. So a lot of you work with a lot of different systems that you need to design. You need to calculate a number of different processes. So if you're, for instance, working on a discipline, like you're an electrical engineer, but you're trying to apply a sensor system or a control system over a pipeline, then you have all of these different mechanical engineering and chemical engineering concepts that you have to refresh yourself on very quickly. Whether it's to find a calculation or to find a different equation, you can find it very easily on Knovel. And then after finding that equation, you can just click on it, and then it is an interactive format in what we call a worksheet, where you can actually understand the equation or teach your students, if you're a lecturer, the equation with all the different parameters. But also it has a numerical solver where you, if you calculate, if you want to input the different properties that is governing your system and processes, then it will automatically calculate the equation and give you the numerical answer in the green box that you see here. It is as if you're using the computer or Excel, but using a pen and a paper as well. So it is very representative, very reliant, and it's all coming from reliable references. So as I said, mixing all of this up, the validated content, the data analytics tools, and the highly optimized search gives you an optimum engineering platform that supports different various industries and research and education endeavors, whether it's in the oil and gas sectors, the chemical industry, engineering, design and construction, aerospace and defense, equipment and manufacturing. You find millions of different users, that thousands of different engineers around the world are using Knovel right now with these different industries, or within the undergrad education or the postgrad students' research. As you can see, across Africa and across the world, there's hundreds of different professors that are using Knovel right now to teach, like for instance in Tuani University in South Africa, like in the different universities like the Arab Academic, the Arab Maritime Academy in Egypt, like other universities using it for research, like Stellenbosch University, UCT, all of these different universities across the continent or across the world, where the top 20 universities around the world are also using Knovel academically. But also you can see it's linking the content, the needs of these different industries to the academia, whether it's the specialty chemicals, the aerospace and defense, or the oil and gas industry. They also rely heavily on Knovel in the field, in their R&D departments, or in their operations departments. So quickly, Knovel covers more than 35 different subject areas, trying to be as comprehensive as possible towards engineering portfolio. So whether it's chemical engineering, electrical engineering, mining, oil and gas, food science, textiles, transportation engineering, it is an optimum platform when you're doing multidisciplinary designs or you're doing a multidisciplinary cooperation. So for an undergrad student starting to do and understand how to do his research and education and depend on himself, Knovel is a good way to start to find definitions, reliable data coming from reliable resources. An engineer that is working on a design project or a design subject or starting a design aspect within his research, again, Knovel is a brilliant place to support whether all the details and parameters that he needs for the design, or if he actually wants to find the different equations and the different material that he can use and utilize in his design. And for an educator, it is very easy to embed different resources from Knovel into your lecture so that you can support your students with reliable data and interactive graphs, interactive tables, and interactive material property search engine. So actually, I would like now to directly jump into Knovel. So I will change the screen that I'm sharing. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So right now you should be seeing Knovel in front of you. As you can see, what we try to do with Knovel is to make it as easy as possible, even if you never received any kind of training, to use Knovel as quickly as possible to understand where you can go. Whether it's you're using a simple search, where here you can find that Knovel is giving you different examples, whether you want to search for a book from an author like yours, or you want to find the density of hydrogen, different information on enthalpy, or if you want to even put a title or put an equation or a material or a chemical compound. You can search with whatever question that you want to ask, and Knovel can give you that answer. So for instance, if I want to start educating my students on smart cars, for instance, let's say I want to look at smart cars. Okay, it will definitely always give me these different aspects. So it will give me different books in text, definitions, will give me different chapters that I can actually look at and see whether I'm looking at a smart car. Here's the managing of the global supply chain. There's another chapter on smart car when it comes to smart car security, application of fuzzy PID, self-driving cars. So for instance, if my student wants to educate themselves quickly on self-driving cars, they can find Understanding Smart Sensors. That's a book where they can find a chapter on self-driving cars or smart battery systems, or even if they're in transportation engineering and want to look at a more holistic approach, more smart highways like Encyclopedia of Smart Materials. So here you can find the different concepts that I can actually refine the search that I'm doing for, whether it's only for automotive industry. So I'm only looking at it from the automotive industry point of view. Then I'll find different aspects of smart sensors, multifunctional coding, and then transports, digital twin in automotives, an introduction. So there's a different material here. Or if I want to actually look at it, from a different point of view, it's the point of view of transportation. So I'll find different chapters until I actually find the different books that can actually give me help. And as you can see, everything here has a little bit of an introduction. So you can actually have a little bit understanding of what the chapter looks like. So for instance, if I go to the chapter on self-driving cars, it will directly open to me the chapter, not only the chapter, but also add the paragraphs that are related to autonomous cars or smart cars.
Can you download a full book?
Sorry?
Can you download a full book? It's a question in the chat box.
Okay.
Or just chapters?
So to download this chapter right away, you can just basically go here and click here, and it will download the chapter to your computer directly. If you want to explore downloading more of that book, if you want to download the full book or more of that book, all you need to do is go to the display content. So here are the different chapters. Now, the idea here is not to download the full encyclopedia or the full reference. You just download the references, the chapters that you need. So yes, you can download the full book, but why just download one book where you can download all the different chapters that you need from all the different books that can actually give you the insights that you need. So as you can see, this is from the book Understanding Sensors. There are other books also that is helpful in process design that is already being recommended. And you can actually look at it as well, like here, the digital twin driven smart systems. And then you can download different books and different titles as well, and different chapters from different books.
Okay, can you also do an example on composites?
That I've just downloaded. Yes, Tenshri?
As your next example. Sorry, if you can do an example on composites as a search, if you are doing another example.
Can you raise your voice a little bit? Sorry.
Sorry, there was a request if you could do an example on composites
Sure.
as a search.
Sure. Yeah. I will give an example on composites. Just give me a second to finish this point, and I will do a number of searches on composite and even on material properties.
Great. Thanks.
So for this part, for instance, if I want to share this with my colleagues or with my students, all I need to do is just click here on share, and it will give me an email option where I can just email my students or email other Knovel users with that chapter and for them to save it. Or I can just add also a comment. So I can click on this paragraph and I can just add a note, put it in green, and I say, use this for grant projects. And I just add my note. And right away, this book right now is saved to my Knovel space, which is my Knovel. And here it is, the book, and it is saved with my comment, with that paragraph, where I can search on more issues on the book, inside the book, or I can even search within my notes. Now, the other thing that I can do is actually also save this chapter to Mendeley as well. So I can import the different citations, and I can export that citation or save that chapter to Mendeley. So here I'm actually choosing to export it to Mendeley. And once I've chosen it, it will open Mendeley as well on the side. So I can sign in to Mendeley and put in the book, put in the chapter and import the citations. Okay, just to make it a little bit clearer, and before I do the requested composite search, I want to show you a use case that actually some of our users used for Knovel. And maybe it can make things a little bit clearer. So you should right now look at my screen and see that it is discussing an example where a university R&D unit and R&D team was working with an American global leader in manufacturing of construction and mining equipment. So they were doing engines, gas turbines, and locomotives. Now, the challenge that they had, one of their mining machines that remove asphalt with a rotor mounted inside a protective chamber. That chamber is made out of steel, and it sustains significant wear during operations from abrasive materials. Now, the useful life of that protective chamber is about 1 year or 2 seasons, and replacing it requires 2 trained mechanics for 3 days plus the transport and from the worksite, which can basically mount to a week or 10 days repair a problem. Now, a mechanical engineer researcher at the university was tasked to finding the most cost-effective material to extend the life expectancy of that chamber. So fortunately enough, that university had access to Knovel. So through Knovel data, he basically searched and delivered relevant data about the wear and about the abrasion and hardness of commonly available steel. And through Knovel also, he provided a vetted source featuring the standard methods of evaluating metal hardness, wear abrasion, and the proprietary steel alloy. So through this extensive technical references curated about the sustainable stainless steel is available on Knovel, he has done an exhaustive comparison with an in-house proprietary steel alloy, brand name steel alloy, and a commonly available commercial alloy. After that extensive analysis, the decision was made to utilize the proprietary steel alloy, where 20% of the raw material cost was increased in case of that in-house, but 70% of the raw material cost, by choosing the new material, 20% of the cost increased, but the new alloy increased the life protection box by about 15%, with an about total 8% cost increase in the consolidation of the significant competitive advantage. So they actually had, when they chose the right steel, they increased the cost by 8%. They increased the life expectancy of that protection box by 15%. So overall, using that steel, basically they had 18% savings. So just going through the different concepts and the different definitions and the different data that is available on Knovel, they were able to do an exhaustive comparison between different steel alloys and see which steel alloy, if used, can actually increase the lifetime of that production box by 15%. And although the cost itself increased, but the savings also increased by about 18%. So actually adding 2 more months into the lifetime of that production box saved hundreds of thousands of dollars per machine for that company and for the people that are using that company. Also, it is saving a lot of time because now they decrease the amount and the time that is needed for the repair and the frequent times that it needed to be repaired. So actually, to go back to Knovel and try to replicate that search again. So I'm going back to Knovel, and I'm going to do the search that we've just discussed. So right now, I'm actually an electrical engineer, so I'm not a mechanical engineer. So I can be a very good example of a student that is, or of somebody from a different discipline that needs to solve a mechanical engineering problem. Now, the first thing that I need to do is to educate myself on steel hardness. Because now I actually need to find the different tools and different characteristics of steel hardness so I can actually understand which steel alloy that I need to use. So once I've searched for steel hardness, it gives me books and texts, graphs and tables, and definitions. So I can go to definitions, for instance, and go through the different engineering encyclopedias and find the definition of steel hardness and understand. So here is, for instance, the Wiley Encyclopedia of Packaging Technology. It has a chapter on steel where it's actually looking for steel hardness. So if I don't like the response that I'm getting, I can actually put it into a quotation. So I want specifically information on steel hardness. Now it's giving me, for instance, chapters from the ASM handbook for metalworking sheet forming on steel hardness conversion, and another ASM book also on steel hardness conversion. So I have different points on steel hardness conversion, and I can actually look also on different data points. For instance, on abrasive wear. Now I have different chapters on the effect of temperature on abrasive wear, metallurgical aspects of tool steel wear. And I can actually go through different of these titles to find out more on abrasive wear and tearing. I can look at data on erosion. I can look data on cracking until I have a little bit more of better understanding on that point. But now I actually want to compare between different steel alloys. I don't know if you've noticed in the first search or not, but when I've typed in steel, let's say, for instance, it gave me these different graphs and tables, equations, and definitions. So if I explore, for instance, the graphs and tables, so for instance, here is a book from Advances in Turbine Material, giving me different options of different graphs that I can actually use. And whenever I see this link, that means that there's an interactive graph within this book. So normally this is how actually the graph looks like. So normally this is, for instance, on creep rupture strength properties of 11 types of ferritic creep resistant steels. Okay, So as you can see, this graph is a bit complicated to get the right point or the right data extracted from this PDF format. But if I click on the live graph button, it will open the same graph into a digital format. Now it's open what we call a graph digitizer, where it will have a digital version of that graph. I can zoom in as much as I want. And then if you look at my mouse, you'll find that there's a yellow box below it where specific X and Y points are available. So I can go to the specific X that I want and click on the correspondent Y that I need. And here, as you can see, it has formulated a table. I can even increase or decrease the accuracy of that point to 16 decimal points. And as you can see, the whole 16 decimal points are very obvious in the yellow box. Now I have this kind of table. I have the graph. I can print them both together, or I can extract them to Excel. So as you can see, here is the graph that I've calibrated, and here's the graph, and here's the table that I've curated, and here is the reference. If I go back to my search, I can still download that to Excel. So I just choose Excel, and I can download the table that I've done to Excel right away. And I can just open that Excel sheet where here are different points. And again, here is the reference of that book. And where is the figure where I got it from. So whenever I have any number downloaded, I will never forget where I got that number. If I go back to my search, and if I, for instance, want to look at some of the equations, also, so I can be much more specific, for instance, on what I'm looking for. But here's, for instance, here is the shoring wall steel plate lagging analysis. Here is steel grating design according to UNI 11002. So for instance, if I go to the steel grating design equation, it will directly give me the equation that I'm looking at.
While we're waiting, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
In a similar way as you've done a steel analysis, can one do an energy efficiency analysis on Knovel?
He can find all the information needed about how to do energy efficiency analysis using the different preferences and engineering encyclopedias that are available on Knovel. Yes, it has an extensive database on energy as well.
Great, thanks.
So as you can see here, this is the equation of steel grading and the design. And here is the different parts of the equation, the different parameters, and where did we get this equation. Now, you can take this equation right away and solve it if you'd like, or you can just click on it. So as I said, here is the worksheet for that equation, all the different descriptions of the different parameters. And here are the different calculation inputs. And as you can see, it is already graphed as well. And here is the numerical answer. So here it's 6.6. The delta max is 6.6 for 10 to the power of -15. So if I change one of the different parameters, let's say I'm going to change the X3 here from 1,500 to 10,000. And just by changing that input, the delta max now is 0. And the Q max has also changed. So all the different values have changed. If I remove that 0 that I've added, get it back to 1500s. I can go back again and look at the delta, and it's back to 6.6. And of course, the graph also has changed. So this is the part that I was telling you about for interaction. So somebody's asking if all the books and things on Knovel are free. So Knovel is a subscription-based platform like every other Elsevier platform, and it is subscribed to by your institution, by your university. So in some of the universities, like for instance, most of the top universities in South Africa or in Egypt or in other different areas have various subscriptions to Elsevier products, and they have access to their subscription. If your university is right now does not have access to Knovel and you need it, and we do entirely understand all the different problems that you're facing because of the COVID-19 pandemic through the different research, remote education, and needs to support your students with more resources. So we're very happy to communicate with your institution to open Knovel for the next couple of months or for a month or so to support the different remote education aspects of your students on a trial basis as well. So, but we have to have a communication with the institution itself, with the university itself, because normally what we do is we open it by IP range. And when we open it by IP range, we need to have that kind of direct connection with the university. So it cannot be just an individual communication or request. But we're very happy to support you and to support your departments with access to Knovel during this very stressful time. So I'm just going back to my initial search. And right now, I want to do an actual comparison between the different alloys on steel hardness. So what I'm going to do is, rather than just typing steel hardness, I'm going to go to what we call the property material search. And I'm going to choose to material property search engine. We have another search engine for chemical material and thermodynamic properties of chemical compounds. So Knovel, all the content on Knovel is in English, but sometimes you can actually search with the technical term in French, but it also understand it, but the answer is always going to be in English. The content is always going to be in English. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to search for steel. And right now when I'm searching for steel, it's giving me more than 2,268 different results, but that's covering all the different properties of steel. So if I'm actually looking at right now, what I'm looking for specifically is on hardness. And as you can see, once I typed hardness, it understood that this is a mechanical property. And once it gave me all the different aspects on how to calculate different hardness. So I'm going to choose Bernal hardness, and I drag and drop the property into the search box. Now I can drag and drop up to 3 different parameters, so I can actually combine 3 different characteristics that I want to narrow down a compound or an alloy or a metal or an element that I'm actually looking at. So to narrow down the characteristics, I can just simply combine mechanical characteristics with electrical characteristics or corrosion characteristics to choose the right material. For the sake of time, I'm just going to do the Bernal hardness, where I can actually choose either a range or greater than or less than. So I want very high tolerant steel alloy, and I want the Bernal hardness to be above 500. So it reduced it to 22 results, which are 22 different tables that are available with steel alloys options with Bernal hardness that is above 500. Now, it's not only that it's giving me the tables, it's only limiting the results to the lines in that table that will give me that answer. So if, for instance, the same table has Bernal hardness that is 200 or below 200, it will be removed from my search results. So right now I have a table on carbon steel from the Worldwide Guide to Equivalent Irons and Steel. If I click on that table is available in that book into PDF. Okay. And as you can see, here is the PDF, here is the actual table, and it's already highlighted the Bernal hardness for alloys that have a range that reaches 500. So it's above or equal to 500. And all I need to do right now is to, I can actually also, if you can see here, this is a filter table, so I can actually look at the complete table, or I can download the complete table to Excel with all the different steel alloys with their characteristics. I'm opening the Excel sheet right now, and here it is. So here's the steel alloy, the different steel alloys that are available with their steel hardness and the range, and this is the composite table, composition table. Yeah. Again, so I can do the different selections from that different steels. I have a number of questions that I can see, for instance, on using electrical batteries data, electric cars. Yes, you can, as I said, it covers electrical engineering, covers mechanical engineering. It gives you all the different civil engineering as well. There's a lot of civil engineering content that is on soil and structure. Of course, that is also available on Knovel. So if I, for instance, search for electric batteries, it will give me over 1,700 different books and texts that are available on electric batteries. And then I can actually look at the different data points that I'm looking for, whether it's, I'm looking at battery charging, I'm looking about lithium batteries, PV systems, charging, fuel cells, whatever the specificity are for a locomotive. So for instance, the exact specificity that you're having. You can copy and paste, you can download the equations and anything on Knovel, to be honest, to Excel, to PDF, to Word. So you can get it from Excel to Word, of course, but it mainly is downloaded to Excel, also to MathCAD. So we tried to make it available for you to download anything on Knovel to the different engineering software, whether it's MathCAD to Excel to any other engineering or calculation software that you need for whether the different tables or the different equations as well. So this was a very quick, overview on Knovel. By the way, Knovel right now, for instance, has a complete corrosion database on steel, or on different metals and material. Also, it has a full interactive steam table and steam chart. So you can actually use Knovel steam table and steam chart for all the different data that you want from these different steam charts. Can Knovel give us data set about 3D imaging or surfaces? Well, it can give you some text on that, but it will not give you 3D imaging. You can definitely, whenever you have access to Knovel, or even now, you can just search Knovel. Of course, it will not give you a download option, but you can find different material that is available on Knovel and understand the depth of what it is providing. Now, just for the sake of time, because I've seen a lot of people asking about time, I'm gonna move to the second part of my presentation, which is on Engineering Village. So, as I've discussed, Knovel is a platform that provides access to more than 10,500 different books, texts, engineering encyclopedias, and different engineering references that help solve a lot of problems for a lot of engineering students and researchers across a long list of industries. Now, Somebody's asking, how can these resources, Mendeley and Knovel, be made available to a member of the Ghana Institution of Engineering? Well, I'd be very happy to communicate with you and your university if they want to evaluate the access to Knovel and to see how we can establish an access to you. So please just contact me directly. My email is available in the invite, and we can definitely try and help you out and give you access to Knovel. But as I said, it is a subscription-based platform, but for the circumstances of COVID-19, we are very helpful to help you and help the researchers and the different students during this time by opening access to Knovel during the upcoming month until maybe this emergency ends. Now I'm going to be discussing, just for the sake of time, and we can have different answers for the different questions. So please, Danishri, try and answer as many as possible on the Q&A and direct any of them.
Sure.
We finish Engineering Village. Now,
Sure.
We're talking about a separate platform than Knovel. This is not related to Knovel. This is a different platform. This is a search and discovery engineering platform that's called Engineering Village. That actually started as an abstract and indexing platform, but really, really with the investments that we've done in it across the years, it actually turned into a quality content analytics and intelligence platform where it can give you all the different analytics that you need for your research success. So it's not only just to give you the different titles that you need to read, but it will help you analyze different trends, discover new technologies, and understand what should you be writing about as a researcher right now. So, as I said, Engineering Village is an abstract and indexing platform that is used to identify unique searches and unique researches to help you as an engineer or as a geoscientist to generate new ideas, stay up to date, understand new subject areas, and identify peers and collaborators. Also, it helps you to avoid unreliable quality. Everything on Engineering Village is peer reviewed. It is very much quality checks. So whenever we find that any publisher in general, that the quality of their publication is going down, we give them a warning and then we remove them and we blacklist them from being indexed on Engineering Village. Also, you will not be missing any content because it's a very comprehensive database of more than 2,500 different engineering publishers. So it's not only Elsevier content and material, and also covers more than 88,000 different engineering conferences. Now, an important part is that Engineering Village is a platform that hosts 12 different databases like Compendex and NSPEC for engineering, general and comprehensive subject areas, and electrical engineering and computer science. It has also GeoBase and GeoRef for earth sciences, geologists, oil and gas industry, Chemica for chemistry and research or chemical engineering, Encompass Lit and Encompass Pat, which is focusing on oil and gas, and also a full database of the different patents around the world, like US patents, European patents, and the world patents, all under EI patent database. So we're very happy and very proud that actually Engineering Village received the 2018 Cody Awards, which is the highest recognition for a research platform around the world that is one of the best research platforms out there, if not the best, as we've received the Cody Awards in 2018. Also, we received the highest review on the Charleston Advisor as 4.5-star review, which is very remarkable on a very tough reviewing platform for research platforms. Now, it is worth mentioning that Compendex, one of the broadest databases for engineers on Engineering Village, has a full coverage of engineering journals, conference proceedings, dissertations, and now more importantly, we've added engineering standards, engineering books and chapters, and even trade magazines. So all of these content, anything that is needed by a student of an engineering school, an engineer in the field, an R&D engineer, or a researcher will be available on Compendex. Now, we've also been working a lot on having a full coverage of the different important and peer-reviewed. Most of the different conferences right now that we're indexing are peer-reviewed. So it's no longer just the journals that are peer-reviewed, but also we are peer reviewing all the different engineering conferences. So all of that is available in a very extensive coverage on Engineering Village right now. Now, this is a very important slide that gives you a little bit of understanding of what is the difference that we provide through using an advanced AI platform like Engineering Village. So whenever you're doing a search on Google or any search engine, basically what you're doing is a text search. So these different text search basically are dependent on the different web spiders, for instance, that Google spreads all over the different websites and mapping out the repetition of these different keywords, and then giving you results by the documents that had similar keywords repeated or that the author have mentioned that this is a keyword for the search discovery. So this is something that we do it very differently on AI Compendics. What we're doing on AI Compendics is something called data point search. So what is data point search, for instance? We have a direct link to all the different publishers. So whenever any publisher of the 2,500 different publishers releases a new article or a new journal, the full text of the article will automatically come to us, and our engineering experts will apply 11,000 handwritten rules onto that document, whether it's a paper, article, review, a conference proceeding, a dissertation, and it will classify the different subject areas that are available into that document and segment it towards the different relevance. And now we add controlled and non-controlled terms. We have more than 22,000 different controlled and non-controlled terms that are used to classify and index different engineering subject areas. And right after we index and segment all of these papers, we do a lot of quality tests, and then we release it on Engineering Village and AI Compendics. To get you an understanding, we release more than 29,000 new documents on Engineering Village every week on Friday. So if you do a search that you're very confident that you find that you've already found the different articles that you're looking for, you can just save that search. And when you do that kind of search again, or you can create an alert, so that alert will give you again the different search results as added a week later. So as I said, Compendics covers more than 190 engineering disciplines from 2,500 different publishers over various amount of different scientific publications and different conference proceedings. Again, one of the very important things is that it hosts the indexation of all the different engineering standards like IEEE, ASTM, SAE, ASCE, and AIEA. So a lot of these different standards are already indexed on Engineering Village, and this is the only database, AI Compendics is the only database that has these engineering standards. And you'll have a full account of that standards, the active and inactive ones as well. All the different engineering books are also indexed on AI Compendics extensively, and a lot of things that are very, very helpful right now for all engineers and researchers is that we've indexed all of our content numerically. So basically, using numerical indexation, we can now differentiate between the content of all our different indexed articles by physical properties, by 67 different physical properties. So you can differentiate between different research papers by temperature, by pressure, by frequency, and you can understand, for instance, when a researcher in oil and gas say deep wells, how deep is deep or how long is long. So you're not just searching for random interpreted terminology like fast or long or deep wells or whatever. You can actually specify, I only want to see wells that are above, let's say, 3,000 meters deep or 5,000 meters deep. And then you specifically get the search results that you're looking for. Another thing is to actually analyze trends. So using Engineering Village, you can analyze different trends and understand the different publications that are coming out of all the different scientific journals. So you can actually identify the new topic that you need to write about, and identify also which scientific journal you actually want to publish at. So you can find all the different leading authors in your field to follow. You can identify the different research output by country, or you can identify different source titles as well, and identify the unique scientific journal that you need to publish at. You can also find the different funding sponsors and look at the different engineering analytics. The last thing that we've just added to Engineering Village is also what we call the school profile. So there is a huge school profile that is available, so you can actually benchmark between different universities and your university, or different departments, and understand and analyze the research strategy that your department is taking, or the research output for your School of Engineering. Okay, I am going to log on quickly to Engineering Village. So as I said, this is how Engineering Village looks like. For the purposes of this quick demo, I'll just do a quick search on the EI Compendex. Let's use one of the things that we've used before, like, for instance, electric cars. So somebody's asking if they can find the recording for that webinar. So this webinar right now is live on Facebook, and a recording of this webinar will be uploaded on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel as well. And if you go to Elsevier Africa on YouTube, you'll find also similar trainings for this webinar as well. So as you can see, I've just done a search on electric cars, and doing that kind of search on electric cars, it gives me all like more than 43,000 different records. So what I want to do quickly is actually look at these different filters and look at it year on year, and to try to analyze a trend here where I can see that the research is actually going exponentially, increasing exponentially on electric cars. So right now, I know that there are important research that is coming out all over these years. So I'm going to limit my research output only for the last 4 years. So I'm going to go to year. I'm going to click on only one until 2017, and I'm going to limit that. And as you can see here, the automatic, this is, it decreased the research output to 10,000 different articles. Now what I want to do is actually look at the authors. So which authors are actually leading into that field, so I can actually follow them. And now I find a lot of different authors from China, which is very interesting. So I want to also look at the research output by country. So I'll find that, for instance, China and the United States are the two main leading countries in research output when it comes to electric cars. So I would like to look at language as well. As you can see, we're also indexing the research in Chinese and in English, but of course, the majority of that research output is in English. So on language, I will limit it only to English. And now I want to see who is actually funding this research. So maybe I'm looking for funding myself for my own research. So here I'm looking at the different funding sponsors. So I can actually look at different funding opportunities at these entities, as they are already funding research on electric cars for the past 4 years. Now, every graph that I've shown you is clickable and downloadable. So I can actually click different reports and I can download different reports. Now, the other part that I want to look at is, for instance, if I want to understand what are the different topics that they are focusing on. So as you can see with electric cars, there's looking at roads and streets, looking at railroad cars, looking at intelligent systems, looking at accidents, electric vehicles, controllers, neural networks. So for instance, I got now the idea that I actually want to look at neural networks. So I will go to the vocabulary and I want to explore more on neural networks. So I'm going to limit my search results to neural networks. Now I have only 387 different records that I can look at. And as you can see, here are all the records. Some of them have the citation counts imported from Scopus, so I'm not missing out on the different citation counts. But also a lot of them are either conference articles. So actually most of them are conference articles and a lot less are journal articles. So let me look only on journal articles. So I'm limiting only to journal articles. And here is about 87 different records only on scientific journals with their different citations. And if I click on any of them, here is the abstract. Here is the full detail of that article, the funding information, the classification codes, the different control terms, so I can actually narrow down as well. But as you can see, also, I have the contacts for the authors. So I can actually contact the authors, maybe ask for a copy of their research, ask for some background data, and actually explore more on the data is available to that research. Now, it is very important to say that there are 2 or 3 modes of search that are very important. One is the quick search, the one that we were using. The last one is the expert search, which is very important. So for instance, if I use an expert search and say electric cars, and I search, it will give me. So there is a question if I can download articles. So this is an abstract and indexing platform. So as an indexing and abstract platform, it gives you the abstract. So if you want to download the article, you have to go to the full text platform like Science Static for Elsevier or whatever other publisher that is publishing this. And it is linked to the subscription of the university. So basically, if you want to go to the full text, you just go to whatever article. Let's say, for instance, here is an article. This is an open access. So you'll find that there is a button that says go to full text. Where you can also download the article. And you can also, of course, import the citations to Mendeley. Now, I just want to make one last search, which is on the quick search. So on the quick search, on the thesaurus search, is searching through terminology. So I'm going to do electric car. And I'm going to search for electric car. Right now, it has given me all of these different terms. And let's say, for instance, I'm going to rely on electric cells. Here's electric batteries. So it's giving me narrower terms, related terms, and broader terms. So here is electrochemical cells. Here is electrochemical electrodes. So what I want to do right now is I'm gonna click on on charging and on solar cells. And here is my search box. And I will click on and I will do the search. So again, papers are not free. Papers are subscription-based by different publishers. As I said, we index more than 2,500 different publishers around the world. So some of them are open access, some of them are behind a paywall. This is a place where you can actually discover all the different articles out there and decide which article is the best article before even you have to pay for it or buy it. But also it is a very good place for you to decide which article that is very important for you to read, and then find it under the subscription of your university or your organization. So right now we have only 600 records under electric cars with the different abbreviations that we've put, with charging batteries. And I can actually look at these different articles and find it. And I can just click, if this is one of the articles that I want to read, I can just click on the full text and it will take me to the platforms that is related to the publisher publishing that specific article. So right now, this is actually a paper that is published, I think, in China. So this is from the Journal of Applied Crystallography. And you can find and download the document from here. Okay. Just very quickly to recap what we have discussed. We have discussed Mendeley in the beginning. We have also discussed Knovel and how to use Knovel. And we also discussed Engineering Village. And right now we've just had a bit of a quick overview on Engineering Village. Let me just go back to my screen, where we discussed how you can do a couple of searches, look at the different analytics, look at the different trends, and the different benchmarks. For anybody that's, I know a lot of people have already asked for the certificate. I think this is the end of this session. So I will share with you right now the code for this session so that anybody wants to download the certificate can download it. But also the floor is open for the Q&A. So please also share with me any questions that you have. So right now you have on your screen the different code and the different links.